Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your host, Scott Ramp, and I got that music from royalty-free music called Curtain Falls. So, anyways, let's talk about some things that are happening in and around Missoula, especially Montana. Kicking things off with your current fire look, and I go to incineweb.nwcg.gov. You can Google Incineweb. It's like incident web, and you can find out all you need to know about the incident information system in terms of fire season. So let's throw up the map. And as you can see, this is like the northwestern region of the United States. You got Washington, you got Oregon, Montana, Idaho, and so forth. And you know, it's a good look to see what the current status of fires are. You know, you can see that this is a prescribed burn right here, and then you can see all these icons. A lot of them can be kind of staggering, but if you really take a close in look on a lot of these fires, you'll start to notice. I'm going to zoom in towards Missoula a little bit more, so you guys can have a more of a grasp on where you are, and you can kind of see that we're kind of surrounded by little fires here and there. The Granite Pass complex looks like it jumped over in this particular area right here, and it currently stands at 5,700 acres, 4% containment. There's a couple other fires, the Brewster Fire, which is about 156 acres. So just a lot of little fires, a lot of work being done by our hotshots and crews out there fighting these fires during our fire season. So this is a good website for any of you guys interested in learning more about the fires in and around the state of Montana. All right, let's talk about some news items. I do have a lot going on today, so I'm going to try to breeze through this, but the Olympics are pretty much over this weekend, and so far the Chinese started out this week with about 29 medals to U.S.'s 22 medals as of Thursday. The current count was China's 29 gold medals to U.S.'s 34. U.S. now stands at 31 gold medals to China's 36, and U.S. has an overwhelming majority with nearly 100 medals in all around, to China's 79, and this is as of Friday of right now. So U.S. women's soccer is one of the best in the world, and even so, they had a documentary. They've had a documentary series on HBO Max called LGF, which is a great series to watch. Most of the series follows the team leading up into the 2019 FIFA World Cup. Most of the series is the lawsuit covered by the U.S. Soccer for gender discrimination, campaigning for the same financial pay as their men's team equivalent. They lost the suit, but the documentary has pushed a spotlight onto this issue, and I suggest you guys check it out. So let's talk about COVID. That seems to be a big issue that's happening this week. Masks, they're suggesting that we start wearing masks again regardless if you've been vaccinated. So New York is doubling down on restrictions in terms of vaccines. As a reaction to the Delta variant and overall rising cases and fears, New York businesses are requiring proof of vaccinations before indoor activities can be allowed. And so far, this is one of the biggest new restrictions to come off of a national reaching 70% of at least one dose vaccine. New York plans to enforce this mandate starting September 13th, which was also the TSA's mask mandate, which would be lifted from the federal restrictions. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has made news as well and has refused to make any mandates and encouraged folks to move forward with vaccines and not back with mandates or restrictions. In the face of staggering COVID numbers, DeSantis said on Tuesday, argued that the statewide lockdowns had failed time and time again throughout this pandemic, and they have not stopped the spread. On the other side, places like LA, California have seen large numbers regardless of their rigorous lockdowns, and Florida has 38,000 new cases this week, while California has had 25,000 new cases this week as well. I don't want to advocate for one side or the other because all it has ever taken is just one person with COVID to really start spread. So I don't want to have a very pessimistic view on this, but living with COVID might be as common as the cold and the flu seasons. Speaking of controversial statements, our Montana Governor, Greg Gianforte, has stated that he will not have any mask mandates. And with over 900 active COVID cases in the state, the Gianforte stated to the AP News, while the CDC has repeatedly changed its mask recommendation over the last 60 months, the governor is committed to keeping our state open and encourages Montanans to take talk with a doctor about getting a safe, effective vaccine. Spokesperson Brooke Stork said in a statement, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the last name, they also encouraged that the vaccine to help combat the Delta variant, which is more transmissible than the OG virus. The OG was my words. The eviction ban in the U.S. will end shortly, which for many folks is a surprise, but not much of a surprise to our congressmen who for the Supreme Court, they took out the moratorium over a month ago, and they said it should be in the hands of the U.S. government to decide whether or not if they wanted to extend the eviction restrictions. And they chose to ignore it until the last minute, and now people are dealing with the fact that eviction moratoriums have now been lifted, and people can start evicting people. Missoula occurrence Martin Kidson reported on the matter here in Missoula, and an estimated 11.4 million adult renters are behind on rent, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. In Montana, census estimates that suggest that 400 residents are at risk of eviction in the next 2 months. Renters on a month-to-month lease are in the worst position because in many communities across the U.S. have been creative with evictions, with not actually calling them evictions. It's they chose not to renew the lease. So in many ways, they've figured out ways to move that as well. And then on the extreme, Missoula does plan on starting Operation Shelter. To help fill 3 separate issues identified in the city's homeless population, including a place to camp legally outdoors. So they're going to negate any kind of city parks or any natural parks or any kind of space like that, like the Broadway Island. The need for temporary outdoor shelter and increasing opportunities for transitional housing. Tent villages are looking more and more likely, but are they already here? From the Reserve Street encampment to all those encampments near the Poverello Center. And so far, the POV is worried about staffing for their increasing numbers of folks who need help transitioning out of homelessness to an affordable home. Montana has $350 million that is supposed to go towards tenants paying overdue rent and utility bills. The Montana Department of Commerce is reviewing hundreds of applications. If you want to apply, you can go to housing.mt.gov. I'm going to show you guys the website. It's housing.mt.gov. And right on the website, you can click right here for emergency assistance. And so this is a rental assistance. You can get up to $2,200 for past due and future payments, up to $300 for past due and future utilities, including gas and electric. And yeah, you just go to apply now. You can contact them if you have any questions. But again, that website is housing.mt.gov. Again, housing.mt.gov. It is a good resource for a lot of people who are worried, and also landlords who are worried about their tenants paying rent. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So up next, we have an interview from Missoula Urban Demonstration Project Executive Director, Casey Valencia, and she's here to talk a little bit more about an upcoming garden party. I'm venting right now because my system's running a little slow, but without further ado, here's this interview, and when I come back, I'm going to be reviewing some movies that are coming out this weekend. Hey everybody, I'm here with Casey Valencia, and she is here to talk about Missoula Urban Demonstration Project, which she is the executive director of. So you have an upcoming garden party. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later, but let's talk about some of the services that MUD provides for our community.
Yeah, so our biggest program at MUD is our tool library. It is over 2,000 tools, everything from hammers and drills, power tools, to things for your yard, to things like sewing machines and canning equipment. Pretty much anything you could need, you can check out from MUD, just like a regular library. And
MUD is a great opportunity for people to do do-it-yourself projects. You guys host workshops, and you guys have been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's just right next to Home Resource, which is between Wyoming and Russell Street. And it is a great location, and it has a lot of great services. And most people just don't know a lot about these services that Missoula has, and this is a nonprofit, and it's a lending library, which I think is a really cool thing, because that's what even MCAT does ourselves in terms of media, and you do it in terms of just like tools and other items that allow people to basically garden, lawn maintenance, care, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, and like you said, any of those kind of DIY projects that can be really expensive to try to have somebody else do for you, or maybe it's a fun hobby that you just want to try. I mean, we even have beekeeping equipment that people can check out so that they can do beekeeping. So yeah, we have a little bit of everything.
Nice. So tell us about some of the workshops that you do at MUD.
Yeah, so this fall we'll have a whole bunch coming up. We'll do a beekeeping workshop about getting the hive ready for winter and how to extract the honey out of the hive. We're going to do a butchering one. We'll do some women-led carpentry class that's really popular. We're hoping to do a car maintenance that will do really basic things like how to change a tire, change your oil, that kind of stuff, like a really intro class. And then we're going to be doing a rain barrel workshop where you can put together your own rain barrel to collect rainwater. So those are our fall ones. In the winter, we do a whole other set of blacksmithing and gardening prep and all that kind of stuff. So we do a ton every year.
And how can people sign up?
So you go to our website, mudproject.org, and you can go to our workshop page and find out all the details and sign up there.
Awesome. So let's talk about this garden party. It feels like it's an open house. You're invited everybody in the community to learn more about mud and also hang out. So tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. It started back when we were on the north side, and it was kind of like a big potluck. And now that we're at our new location next to Home Resource, it's changed up a little bit, but it still kind of has that fall harvest vibe and a nice evening in Missoula. So you come and it is a ticketed entry, but we provide dinner and drinks and live music and dancing. And so it's just come out, have a good evening celebrating sustainability and community and getting together with your neighbors at our site and kind of check out all our projects. Because that's another big thing we have. Our site is full of different sustainable living projects. We have solar panels, we have rainwater catchment, we have a recycled glass pathway that people love to run their fingers through the crushed up glass to see what it feels like. We just have a lot of cool stuff that people get to check out when they're at our events.
Nice. And what are your hours at the Mud right now?
Yeah, right now we're open Friday and Monday from 4 to 7 and Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. So it's just kind of that Friday through Monday over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So once again, tell the folks when and where this garden party is going to be taking place.
Yeah, so our garden party is on September 10th from 6 to 10 p.m. And it will be at our site, so 1527 Wyoming, right next to Home Resource.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend. It is a big movie weekend as well because we are having a blockbuster. Kicking things off is this movie. I'm trying to pretend that there's something here, and also trying to look at the screen so I have a reference point. You'll like the first one, right? You're gonna like this one. How about another film that nearly does the same thing, but with slightly variations of the title, with adding the word "the"? As you can see, James Gunn is talking about the Suicide Squad, or bad dads bring their underage kids to movies about bad people doing bad things for the U.S. deep state organization. Anyways, you have a variety of characters that follow a gun guy, shark guy, clown girl, polka dot wizard, Willard Rat King, German guy, actual rat guy, disarming guy, and the leader. There are other characters you will see, but let's be frank, you won't be too interested in checking a wiki while you're watching this movie unless you're at home watching instead of in theaters, to which HBO, who owns the Carmark, will destroy the movie industry and keep people inside watching Batman the rest of their lives. Just so you know, it is rated R, so yeah, it's out. The Suicide Squad better watch their backs because this next movie right here is, jeez. We got an indie film about a kid who throws his family into a hole. John in the Hole takes the kidnap our parents genre from a TV's house arrest to get dark and gritty. I'm assuming this kid isn't completely evil, and you'll spend most of your time understanding them until they do something irredeemable, like fart into a hole where everyone is there. Anyways, the killer protagonist, Dexter, actor man, is in this movie to add some C-list energy to this indie darling. And speaking of scraping at the bottom of the barrel, we have a video game, because usually I review video game, absolutely no references, because I'm not much of a video game person. But just another release of a game that came out earlier, is having a re-release with new skins, new things, and I guess a couple new DLC things that you're going to spend $5-10 on, and then be like, okay. Anyways, basically just another cash grab edition that basically adds spoilers to make metaphoric car trucking through the snow. Don't think about it too much because you will be too busy grinding and building up your character and basically ignoring the shoehorned lore and the sacred object bent on saving or destroying the fictional land of the Falconer. The Falconer Warrior Edition. Up next, we have a fun video for you guys, and it's from our horror camp from last week, and I wanted to show you a little bit of it. So I'm going to show you the full-length feature film from MCAT's horror camp entitled TV Special 3.
Welcome to the Media Center. I love you.
Okay, you know what this is all about?
That's the DVD.
Okay, could I borrow a DVD player? Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Modern Cooking with me, the chef. Today we're going to be cooking a very special recipe, one that my mother taught me. A very special popcorn with a light buttery drizzle.
Welcome to the evening show brought to you by MCAT, your community access television. I'm your host, Corey Michaels, and today I am here with famed actor, philanthropist, guru, saint, podcaster, and warmonger Riddick, who plays Nature Guy. Riddick, can you tell us the name of your new movie coming out?
I could, but I feel like that'd be a bit of a spoiler to the story that we're trying to tell, so I'm gonna keep that secret for now.
Let's get our ingredients, shall we?
Well, can you tell us the premise of your new movie?
I can give you the base concept where we wanted to go more horror and more adults to kind of grow up with our audience and really get an evolution of the formula.
So you'd say that this new direction will cater towards fans of the old movies more?
Absolutely, we're pulling the roots from the old Nature Guys and really putting it into this new one and giving it that old feel while still making it new and fresh.
Now we're only going to want to add just a little bit, just a smidgen, just a smidgen,
Did you have any problems on set while filming?
Yeah, the director wasn't very good, but besides that, it was a very fun shoot.
Just a tiny amount of popcorn. This is why we have our spoons, you see. And we're just going to get all of that good buttery stuff in there. Now we're just going to want to add it into the pot. Now you're just going to want to stir it up. Now, if you're like me and you prefer a little crunch, just add some green glass.
So, Riddick, have you ever begged for the sweet release of death?
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's kick things off with a little bit of City Council. I just wanted to thank all the efforts from the kids of our horror camp from last week. But let's jump into some City Council. So no City Council meeting happened on Monday, but we had plenty of committee meetings that are tackling the housing crisis and the eviction moratorium ending. So let's jump right into it. Budget Committee of the Whole, the Community Planning Development Innovation, CPID, and Housing and Community Development are being discussed in terms of the budget because this is part of their Budget of the Whole, which consists of all the meetings and all the money and all the different organizations that the city does through their general fund and grants and all sorts of things. And so they usually give presentations. They talk about the funding that they did for this past year and also the projected funding that they would need for the upcoming year. So Aaron Pean, Director of Housing and Community Development, gave the presentation on this. So let's get things off with this. Here's Aaron Pean talking a little bit more about their mission.
We want to start today by talking about our mission, because in CPDI, everything we do ties back to our mission and to the broader mission, vision, and goals of the city of Missoula. So whether we're building or completing a building inspection, working on a historical preservation registry listing, or responding to a code compliance violation in our code compliance team, we do it in an effort to promote our mission of equitable growth and a resilient and sustainable community.
All right, so that was Aaron Pean talking a little bit more about that. Let me just go back to my notes. The services by the department work on the growing pains of the city that is ever growing. This is a continuation of a place called Home Missoula's community growth policy in conjunction with Our Missoula, but also they were talking a little bit more about, in terms of money and the budget process. So here is Christian Hands talking some more about this and exactly where funding and revenue comes in and their projection for 2022.
The majority of CPDI revenues comes from grants and sale proceeds held previously in the former Department of Housing and Community Development. This is projected at $4,237,138 for FY22. This includes one-time contributions requested for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, as well as federal grant funds that pass through our department funding work in the community. The next largest revenue category is licenses and permit fees, projected at $3,116,902. The license and permit fees category includes building and business licensing, among other types of licenses and fees. The next largest percentage is tax revenue, projected at $2,584,987. CPDI also receives smaller portions of revenue from intergovernment transfers, for example, planning mills from Missoula County. This is projected at $690,242 for FY22, and charges for services, which are projected at $360,120.
And a lot of the grants, for the most part, is that when you're looking to get federal grants, a lot of times when you're working in government, what they always end up doing, well, from one of my experience and what I've seen a lot of times is that they always have to have like a matching fee. So like the government or the local governments put money down, and then the state or federal matches that in terms of grants. There seems to be a lot of that in terms of like development and construction projects. But so far the plans are staying the course, but also they have to take into account the money that they would receive from the COVID-19 relief and rental assistance. Aaron Pean talks about the last 6 months have done for Missoula in terms of housing, affordability, and all that residential stuff.
We've issued permits to build 844 much-needed homes in our community. You'll note on this graph that exceeds all development in the prior year by 288 homes, and even more in 2018 and 2019.
All right. So as you can see, like these are the big numbers right here. It started from 2014, the kind of growing, and then there was a dip for the last couple of years just because, 2018, I definitely saw like a big jump in terms of the housing costs, and this is around the time I was looking for housing and stuff like that. It's definitely insane just to kind of see some of these developments and just kind of in scope of things, just kind of like a little projection, some of the past and some of the stuff. This is also on the heels of a pretty good year of property on the north side getting rezoning from the industrial to commercial/residential. It took a big chunk of housing in Missoula for the next 5 years of projected affordable housing demands. Of course, out of the 844 units that have been approved, 90 plus are on the route of approval to keep up with the demand of housing. It's kind of a boomtown without any of the jobs that would originally entice people to be coming to a town like Missoula. So folks just want to move here because of the town itself. Last year saw upwards of 500 new single dwelling units, and not even to mention all those properties popping up in the Mullen area in the next 5 to 10 years. Increases in permitting fees and working with developers have also shown to help streamline these processes. So increased fees, but also helped cut down on some beneficial based on the earlier projected and actual numbers of developers in Missoula. In a lot of ways, they spend more money, and then they're able to hire more staff to be able to basically approve these permits. So a lot of time is not wasted. And they also work with them in terms of presenting a presentation to the city for developers as well. All right, Montana James, also with CPID, dives into the COVID-19 relief money and how it's impacted Missoula. And this is what she had to say.
So in fiscal year 21, our grants team administered over $700,000 in emergency COVID funds to support Missoula's non-congregate shelter caseworker who worked with individuals in isolation and quarantine in the community. Those funds also supported the expansion and provision of emergency winter shelter from November through April to provide a safe and warm space so that residents did not have to sleep outside in the dangerous and inclement weather. And those funds also supported an additional sanitation support for our local congregate shelter, as well as increased outreach worker capacity to reach residents experiencing houselessness to support with COVID prevention.
All right. As you can also see here down below is that a $1.4 million construction on the Trinity Apartments, the YWCA Meadowlark facility was built, roof replacement for 25 community land trust homes, supportive housing service for over 1,500 Missoula households, financial renter and homebuyer education for over 1,100 Missoulians. And, you know, Homeward is a great organization here in town. It's basically kind of gives you the classes that you need to be a home buyer. And a lot of times people don't know too much about buying homes and doing it unless they've been in the process of buying a home. A lot of times it's good to have a class to get you prepared, not to mention they have a lot of benefits in terms of grants and funding opportunities that you guys can jump on as well, especially if you are a resident of Missoula already. All right, so let's go back to my notes. Whether you know it or not, CDC recommends that the numbers at the POV be cut in half as of last year. Other folks have made do with a temporary shelter on the North and Johnson Street shelter, along with the Salvation Army. Funds for affordable housing between YWCA's new building and the new Trinity Navigation Center. So Trinity Navigation Center is something that I'm going to be mentioning over and over again because it's going to be a huge impact in terms of navigating people to homes. That's why they call it the Trinity Navigation Center, and it's also going to have hundreds of units to provide housing. I think it was for the 60% of people who make the medium area income, which is about $21,000 a year. Erin Pierre talks future and current needs that can be addressed in our housing crisis, and this is what she had to say.
What we did is we took a look at what is the need today, and based on what the need is today, what does the system truly need? And working with those providers, we came up with this model. The good thing is as the need shifts, this mobile team can shift with it. And so we may not need as much homeless outreach in the future, or we may not need as much of a security presence in the future, right? If we're able to retire some of these other services or minimize these other services, because we're connecting more people directly to permanent homes. And then that mobile care team can shift, and those professionals can start to provide more housing connection and housing retention services and less street outreach and security at those basic health and safety provision options. And so our goal is to create a team that can flux with the need. And so we aren't really locked into a specific service at a specific location, but that we have a team that can grow and change and shift with that need.
Yep. So it's not relegated to just one basic medium, lower income, higher income, mid income, just people in general who are looking to get housing and navigation. And most importantly, with the rent the way it's going right now, that's one of the things that moves me over to our next topic, which in terms of just being able to rent here. So far the city is taking the position that they cannot force landlords and property management to not evict people, which is unfortunate. But these programs are in place to find permanent housing for folks. But in waiting type of deals, many Missoulians are out of time and or struggling with various financial burdens, whether the cost of living or with low wages or unemployment. Imagine you have to sleep in your car before you go to work, and then you get written up because you didn't wear socks or something, because the socks you only had like two pairs of socks. There's just so many things that compiles and snowballs into effect. And so far, this was informational and will be presented in totality with the rest of the budget by August 16th for the public comment period and final vote on August 23rd. So committee of the whole, and this is diving a lot deeper into the rental issues and a lot of the things that the city of Missoula is doing, but at the same time, the candle's being burnt on the other end, because there's basically a very low amount of rental properties available. So I did a little more deeper dive because the topics include Missoula's rental market. So Montana James, Community Development Division with the City of Missoula, gave the presentation. So let's take a look on the intro to this presentation.
We've heard from many of you and many residents in Missoula concern about the intensity of our rental market and the general lack of vacancies as well as displacement. So we have been closely following these policies at the federal level for the last year and a half, and working to track any data that's available about the numbers, excuse me, of Missoula residents who are potentially affected by or facing displacement because of non-payment of rent due to COVID and the pandemic and for other reasons.
All right. So, yeah, I mean that is a very common issue, especially nowadays with people being able to try to afford rent. Also, the last month being cut off from unemployment beginning of June. Just a lot of things compiling. And she went into detail about 9% of Missoula renters being behind on about $2,600 in rent. And so far, like I said, there's the emergency rental assistance. You can go to, I'm going to mention this many times before, it's housing.mt.gov. It is a wonderful resource. You can get up to $2,200 on rental assistance, but also utilities, which is key, is to up to $300. So, it's good to kind of knock out a couple months worth of utility back pay, and then the $2,200 can go towards your rent. So again, housing.mt.gov, emergency rental assistance. It's right on their page. You can't miss it. All right, so let's go back to my notes. Let's see. Matt Merlot, Sterling CRE, has compiled with 5 years of research and rental costs, looks at the trends and just a bunch of statistics and stuff. So this is what Merlot said.
If you average all of them together, it's about a 16% increase. Certain unit types like 2-bed, 2-baths have gone up by about 25% in 1 year. So that's yeah, I mean, for your average renter, if your income is not going up in a corresponding fashion, then the squeeze on renters is pretty pronounced, as you can see by this slide.
All right, so this is what Matt was talking a little bit more about, just like the increase in rent. Like you don't need to know that that the rent is going up for sure. It doesn't. With higher costs and higher demand, and even those wanting to stay in Missoula, difficulty is compounding, according to Merlot. He suggests they look into the bigger market rather than just the rental markets, but potential markets that will have more housing. And of course, like I said, it's like it's not enough to look at potential housing as much as it is to look at the current housing. And downsizing seems to be the future theme during some of these surveys CRE is working on, with folks reluctantly would downsize as a result of pricing. No one to live in a studio apartment unless it's $300 to $400 a month cheaper than the one-room apartment that you would prefer. Most of these meetings presented with what a lot of people in Missoula already know. Like I said, high prices and low supply with low wages, close to a dead grip on rent, and not to mention, like, when you try to find a new rental property, good luck, because most of the anecdotal stuff and a lot of people calling in have mentioned that they're competing with 20 to 30 other people for a small room in a house with other people who are also renting. So Andrea Davis from Homeward gave another presentation on behalf of Homeward's efforts to help renters and also flip older buildings into rental apartments, hence the whole potential apartments for folks as well. So this is what she had to say.
the numbers at the bottom of this figure, which are showing you really what it's like to be a home buyer in Missoula County and what it's like to be a renter in Missoula County. The takeaway that I see from this is that there's a real disparity in wages for both renters and homeowners when it comes to having enough money to afford a home. And when we mean affordable housing, we say, well, 30% of one's income towards their rent and utilities or their mortgage and utilities is what's considered affordable in the United States. So, you can see here with these figures, there's a dramatic difference between renter wages and homeowner wages. At Homeward, through the not only the homes that we build, but also through the classes and the counseling that we provide, we're really helping people chart a path to saving money, paying down debt, and being able to eventually have enough money for a down payment to purchase a home, if that is their goal. What the work we do,
Hold on a second. Let me just find that. I just wanted to bring it back to this page right here. If you just take a look at this page real quick, you can kind of see. I mean, this is from the from fiscal year 2021, so a lot of the study is actually old. And like I'm seeing $979 a month for a rent for 2 bedrooms. That seems a little low. Just even looking around, just seeing some of the rental properties, and it is definitely ridiculous just to kind of see just how much things have changed even in the last 6 months compared to even like the fiscal year of 2021. 2020. Sorry. Let's see. Heck, I did Homeward first-time home buyer classes. I suggest if you're interested in being a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of benefits for people, grants, loans, 0% interest loans, and they hook you up with a lot of different organizations to help you do it as well. You can sign up for classes at their website, homeward.org. It is a nonprofit organization, and it's all to be able to help renters and landlords get in touch with one another. So Andrea, once again, talks a little bit more about their through their programs and properties, and this is what she had to say.
What the work we do, we build homes that are affordable to Missoula's residents, and they are deed restricted affordable. So by nature, we're more stable because we're not at the whim of the market. About 92% of our residents are able to pay their rent. 8% are on payment plans. When the pandemic hit, and before a federal moratorium was put in place, Homeward and our management company, Tamarack Property Management, we put an eviction moratorium in place with our residents because we're in the business of keeping people in their homes, not evicting people.
All right, so let me just dissolve back into me. Let's talk. And so far, they lack sufficient resources to get these kinds of studies and have often referred to an anecdotal system to gauge the rental community. And so far, they believe that 25% of them have used federal rental assistance programs, 25% of their renters that use Homeward, rather than the Montana 211 is a service that connects you to human resource beyond renters issues, and so they're a good resource. Sorry, I gotta recontextualize my notes real quick. But Homeward works. All right, I gotta start over again. So she was talking a lot about renters and the prices and how Homeward has basically kept a stagnant, not increasing their rental monthly rates and stuff like that. But regardless of how Homeward works, vouchers have seemed to be a scarlet letter in terms of some landlords, but most of them have been seeing to 20 to 30 applicants. So a lot of them have a tendency to go towards the ones who don't have vouchers, because the problem with vouchers. And I'm not saying that vouchers aren't good, but I've noticed that even with some of the comments that happened during city council is that people have been against some of these vouchers because they're usually on a waiting list and they're still trying to figure out like that. And there might be a stigma for some vouchers as well because it kind of shows the landlord in some ways is like, oh, the vouchers, ooh, that person may not be able to afford to they'll afford to have the down payment, but then they won't be able to afford to have an ongoing payment. So I don't know if I want to be locked into a lease with somebody who may be liable. So anyways, regardless of how Homeward works, it gets even more complicated from the CDC in communities with high transmission rates also affect the eviction moratorium. Montana Housing Director Cheryl Cohen came to talk more about housing credits in Montana. So this is someone from the Montana state level, and this is what she had to say in terms of affordable housing, affordable rental development?
So the low-income housing tax credit program was created in 1986, and it was made permanent in 1993. It's an indirect federal subsidy that's used to finance the construction and rehabilitation of low-income affordable rental housing. So lawmakers created this as an incentive for private developers and investors to provide more low-income or affordable housing. And without this incentive, affordable rental housing projects generally do not have sufficient profit to warrant the investment. So the housing credit gives investors a dollar-for-dollar reduction in their federal tax liability in exchange for providing financing to develop affordable rental housing. The investor's equity contribution subsidizes the housing development, and therefore it allows the units to rent at below market rates. And in return, those investors receive credit that's paid in annual allotments, generally over a 10-year period.
All right.
So there was a
many of the reasons why she was mentioning this particular credit is that tax credit seems to be a big plus when it in terms of acquiring more affordable housing, giving tax credits to build a larger unit complex, and working with cities and communities along with the state level. Because one of the things that have been used to build more affordable housing is what's called TIF. Yes, tax increment financing, giving tax relief to developers so they can build sidewalks, mitigate blight. But Missoula has been kind of using that to do more affordable housing. But a lot of questions arise when you're thinking of getting credit to developers, like how do you know if they won't take the credit and build more, but still charge the same per unit? Missoula has passed required a deed restriction, which means a mechanism for preserving long-term affordable housing. Homeward is able to do it because they control and they property manage as well a lot of their own rental facilities and places. And based on the median income, Montana's credit would have deed restrictions for 46 years on certain properties. And Cheryl talks about how Montana is spending some of this money in terms of tax credits.
So there was a recent fix in federal legislation at the end of last year that has really improved the equity of that credit. We're hearing by upwards of 30%. And the result is we're seeing a really significant uptick in that 4% pipeline. And so you can see from the chart here on the slide, for all of 2020, we allocated about $112 million for that 4% credit for construction of new affordable homes. And just this far for June of this year, we've allocated $121 million. So that includes both the current year available plus some carryover that we've had from the prior year. And we have about maybe another half a dozen projects in the pipeline. So we're seeing a really high uptick in the use of that. And it's a goal at the state level to make sure that we maximize the use of this 4% credit. And it's a particularly effective tool for urban development. And I know developers like Homeward have been really kind of instrumental in being able to maximize the use of that fund.
All right, so there's a lot of construction going on here, and a lot of Missoula and organizations are really jumping on developers to give them the ability to have tax credits, TIF funding, and that kind of thing to help basically curb affordable housing and provide more housing here in the city of Missoula. One of the biggest takeaways from this meeting is the overall sobering reality that a lot of people are moving to Missoula to the point where there's barely any places to rent from. Yes, you would have to go do some deep diving in terms of trying to find the right place, knowing some friends, knowing some people. But man, looking online and applying online as well, like you're going to be competing with 20 to 30 other applicants for, even some of the simplest apartments. So this team is doing a lot to curb the need for housing in our community and rental assistance programs like housing.mt.gov. It's another wonderful resource. I'm going to keep on mentioning it. It is for rental assistance programs, and for those of you who feel as though you were falling behind on rent, and you can apply. It doesn't hurt to apply. You never know. It is the money is there. It was passed by Congress, COVID, American Relief Acts, and all that stuff, just so you can retain your home. So it's your taxes, your money, that kind of stuff. For more information, you can log on to ci.mt.us. ci.mt.us is a wonderful resource for anybody looking to find more information about your local government. You can watch these meetings on the website as well, or you can go to channel 190. We stream our channel on MCAT.org, and like I said, ci.missoula.mt.us. You can go to meetings, click on the meetings right there, right in the front splash page, and you scroll on down, you wait a little bit. I personally choose the calendar mode because it kind of shows you what meetings are upcoming and also some past meetings from the city of Missoula. So that about does it for my city council report. I'm going to throw it on over to another fun video that those kids made last week. This one is called Nature Guy. As soon as I bring it up. And then after this, I'm going to be talking about some of your First Friday events because it is First Friday of August. There's a lot of art installations happening, and I'm going to talk more about this after this.
Yeah, so without all the smoke, you know, this place would be pretty beautiful.
What lays before you is all the trash that you've ever thrown on the ground. You have 5 minutes to pick up your mess before the oxygen in the room runs out.
Oh no, we're gonna lose our oxygen. We're not gonna be able to breathe. We're gonna die in here.
Hey, it's my coffee.
This room.
It's empty.
And what are you doing? We gotta clean this stuff up.
Yeah, I think we're only in here because I accidentally missed a trash can. Some psychopath tried to... I don't know. Look, all we gotta do...
We're gonna die. Dude, you missed. We're gonna die.
I know, but look at this, buddy, okay? Look,
We're gonna die.
what do you do? Do this.
I gotta clean this stuff up. I'm gonna die.
It seems you have passed the test.
What test?
You have done well.
What did I do?
You did make a mistake of throwing away the trash. You recycled it like a normal human being.
Excuse me, sir. Could you please sign this petition to save the rivers?
No, I gotta get out of here.
Nature's healing. Time to take out the trash.
Hey guys, welcome back. That was great. Thanks to those kids from our horror camp as well. Up right now, we got some art stuff happening as well. So if you're interested in learning about First Friday, just so you guys know, it's happening from 5 to about 8 p.m. all across downtown Missoula and around the art galleries and art places. Anyways, reception for Lane Chapman. Stick a pin in it. The Clay Studio of Missoula is doing a solo exhibition from featured works from Lane Chapman, who is completing her 2-year residency in the Clay Studio of Missoula. Starting out as a painter and illustrator, she transitioned into clay after being hooked by her first class. Lane obtained a BFA in ceramics in 2017 from the University of Arkansas in Little Rock. Prior to the residency in the Clay Studio of Missoula, Lane spent 2 years in Rochester, New York as a resident of the Flower City Art Center. So you can check that out. And it's by Lowell School. Let's see. This one is Engel and Volkers, featuring artist Justin Stahl. Wood carving, mask, and painting. This is going to be at their Engel and Volkers. They're 321 North Higgins, Missoula. And you can, again, that address is 321 North Higgins, Missoula. Up next, we got a artist shop, Repeated Realities. Artist shop is hosting Eric Jensen's work as a marriage of experience and practice focused on around the nature, landscape, and their complexities of form, the swirling chaotic forces that shape the land, inspire metaphor and meaning that manifests in his paintings as representations of our labyrinthian relationship with the natural world. And the show runs all of August. Then we have at Lake Missoula Tea Company is Macro Photos, Tea and Tunes. Join us for a wonderful macro photography of Summer Life by Robert Phillips. So macro photography is using a really short lens and getting really close to the subject. Nice depth of field, beautiful photos as well. This happens from 5 to 8 p.m. and it's going to be featured at Lake Missoula Tea Company for the month. There's a garage community exhibition project. This is going to be at International House. Explore a new and unique art space in town. The garage of the International House and 659 North 5th Street East. So basically, it's the University of Montana. And if you go to Jeanette Rankin Park, Madison has the Jeanette Rankin Park that's kind of shaped like this. If you go on the other side, on the street, there's the International House. It's kind of in the corner, also across from the Adams Center parking lot. And it is a wonderful place to check out as well. And finally, you got Mountain Line Downtown Transfer Center mural by artist Stella Null. Stella Null has brought a new life to Mountain Line's Downtown Transfer Center through her full-scale mural. As you can see in this picture up there, you can kind of see a kind of a glimpse of it, and I'm sure you've probably already seen a couple of the sculptures there as well. Through a whimsical style and use of symbolism, Stella created a visible connection between public transportation and stewardship for the environment while creating a more welcoming space for downtown visitors. And those are all your First Friday events that are happening around town as well. Let's jump into events before I wrap up my show. If you have a kid under the age of 18 who is in school, just so you know, Missoula Food Bank is doing the free summer lunches for kids. And so breakfast at lunch, they're going to have it at morning locations, various times. So Chief Charlo Elementary School, Franklin Elementary School, Lowell Elementary School, Russell Elementary School. In-house, if you go to their Wyoming Street address at the Missoula Food Bank, they have breakfast and lunch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Wednesday, Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., breakfast and lunch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 to 7 p.m. There's a lot of numbers. You can go to Missoula Food Bank anytime, and they'll accommodate you 100%. Library also has their free lunches for kids as well from 11:30 to 1 p.m. Kids Eat Free Summer, Missoula Food Bank. But also, if you are interested in getting some food, there is a transit system that jumps around. It's the Sisson University Apartments from 11 to 11:20, Silvertip and Creekside Apartments from 11:30 to 11:45, Travois Village from 12 to 12:20, and then Futura Mobile Home Park from 12:35 to 1 p.m. Rattlesnake Weekly Walks, you meet at Pineview Park around 1 p.m. And Rattlesnake Mutual Aid hosts a weekly neighborhood walk, rain or shine. Wear a mask for the safety of other attendees. Meet at the Pineview Park under the park shelter. Adult Writers Group. A young adult writers group is meeting up 3:30 at Missoula Public Library. This is for writers of between the age of 16 and 19. They share their work aloud, poems, stories, songs, rants, novels, and receive respectful feedback. All genres, tones, and styles welcome. We laugh, we shiver, we cringe, we swoon. We enjoy each other's words. And this is happening. They meet live every Friday via Zoom from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. And if you're interested, you can email Dana at Missoula Library. Dana M at missoula.lib.mt.us. Again, that's Dana M at missoula.lib.mt.us. And this is from 3:30 to 5:30, and it is a young writers adult group. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and this is another art piece at the 709 Art and Framing. If you're interested, this is on Ronan Street, and I don't have an art description, but this is Don Munt and time-lapse watercolors, and this is going to be happening all month long. You can watch some of his time-lapse watercolors from YouTube and his past paintings by Don Munt, along with sections from the gallery including Walter Hook, Nancy Erickson, Carol Koffenagel, Dennis Sloan, and others. And it opens Friday from 5 to 9 p.m., and it's going to be pretty much open month long, so you guys can check this out as well. Let's see. The circus is also in town, if you haven't already seen, if you go to Southgate Mall. It's basically right in front of H&M towards the main entrance of the Southgate Mall. You can't miss it. It's a huge tent that just popped out of nowhere, and they're going to be doing a whole bunch of circus stuff. They already started on Thursday, but they're going to have one tonight at 7:30, and they're going to have one at Saturday. They're going to have 3 shows on Saturday at 12 noon, 4 o'clock p.m., and 7:30 p.m. And then finally, they're going to wrap things up on Sunday for a 1 and a 5 p.m. show. It's a very large tent that they put up there. And if you're interested in some live music, you can go to Connor or Kikote Trio. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Stave and Hoop Speakeasy. It's that new basement place in that alleyway between Liquid Planet and actually next to Office City. You can't miss it. All right. Saturday markets. If you're interested in going out on Saturday, markets are always a good thing to do. You can check out some of the fresh produce, and markets happen from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. every single Saturday until the end of October. Park After Dark. Oh, wow. So I'm just jumping right into the late night stuff because there's really not much going on. Council Grove State Park. Join Park After Dark astronomy program at the Council Grove State Park on Saturday, August 7th. The New Moon astronomy program will run from 8:30 to 10 p.m. The event is a good opportunity to explore and learn about the night sky at the Council Grove State Park. And Missoula Outdoor Cinema, they're going to be playing Inside Out at the Head Start Playground. It's on the north side in that old school Head Start. So it usually starts 9:30. They say 9 o'clock p.m. is the perfect time to start coming on down. But the sundown, I think the sundown is probably like 9:20, 9:30, and I think that would be a good time. And they're going to be doing Inside Out, and the money raised there goes towards north side programs and continuation of this movie night. Solid sound karaoke at the Bulldog Lounge at Westside Lanes. And then DJ music at Union and Badlander downtown Missoula Saturday night as well. All right, so I'm pretty much I'm getting bored of reading these, but anyway, Sunday Streets, just wanted you guys to know that the Sunday Streets with the Missoula in Motion group, Sunday Streets Missoula for 2021, Franklin to the Fort. The large stretch of 1 mile long route will showcase the neighborhood's new traffic calming circles and alley parklets. It will also include temporary activation stations, food trucks, and it's all going to be on Strand Avenue, and local businesses and organizations hosting activities along the route. Sunday Streets events encourage all ages and abilities to be active, support local businesses, and really think how a community can be more livable. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Missoula Symphony Orchestra, Symphony in the Park. This is going to be at Karis Park. They usually do it under the large awning, and this starts at 7 p.m. on Sunday. It is a good opportunity for you guys to enjoy that. The Symphony in the Park has returned, and you can join from 7 p.m. It's a free concert. All you got to do is just show up. And then, of course, Missoula Senior Center is doing a hip strip movie night, courtesy of the Roxy, and it's going to be showing the School of Rock, and it'll be an outdoor screening. So it'll be nice and fun. So, all right. So that pretty much does it for your events. If you're interested in learning more about events, you can go to MissoulaEvents.net. Let's see. MissoulaEvents.net. Boom. Here's the website. Woo! Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm running out of time, and I wanted to thank you guys for joining me this morning. And for Wake Up Missoula, I am Scott Ramf. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.